Yeah, we got Abe McCune. Abe, we're super excited to have you on
I'm
Restaurant.
so happy to be here.
It's about time we cross paths, right?
Yeah.
So you're with Eat Local Ohio. Most of our listeners don't know that. They do know Eat Local Ohio, of course. It's a huge market in Army Hillcrest Food Service. As you know, Restauranttopia is under that same amazing umbrella. But now it's time to bring the people to the surface. You guys are out there doing amazing things for independent restaurants.
Imagine a perfect world where you can build a restaurant, open the doors, and make loads of money. Unfortunately, those days are over. It takes great leadership, hard work, and long hours to operate a successful restaurant. Together, we can make it happen. This is Restauranttopia.
So let's dial back a little bit. First of all, how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful.
Yeah.
Life is good. We get to go out and promote local every day of the week, and what a blessing of a job.
It's not bad, is it?
No, it's so amazing.
So you just get to help people for a living.
Get to help people.
Yeah, people living their dream too, right?
Yeah.
And you said local, so you're the independent operator. Obviously, if anybody's listened to the show once or twice, that's all we ever talk about. It's an obsession for us, right?
Yeah.
But why do you think that is? What do you get out of it? Because I can tell you what we get out of it, but
You know, I have been in restaurants since I was probably 18 years old, and the majority of them have been locally owned, family operated restaurants. And at a certain point, it gets in your blood. Like you turn into like a different animal, I think. You
it's
know?
so true. It's almost like an addiction, isn't it?
It is.
Like a familial, like family addiction, right?
But it's like a restaurant is like this place where all like the weird little misfits of the world find their home and find their identity.
Yeah.
And you could be as far on the opposite end of the spectrum from the person that's working across from you, but you somehow manage to find that camaraderie and you turn into family. It's a beautiful thing.
My man, I guess I never looked at it through that lens, but it's so true. And I've mentioned this on Restauranttopia before, like the back of the house is where I grew up, right? Were you front of the house or back of the house?
Front of the house always.
So in back of the house, it was always pirates and swashbucklers, right?
Yeah.
And we were all walks of life with all sorts of different backgrounds. But to your point, we all culminated for the same goal, and somehow we made it work, right? And it's not unlike a family where you have to overlook your differences, your personal disagreements, that thing, because we're all trying to achieve that one mission, that one goal, and that's just to serve people, right? It comes down to.
And a lot of that comes from the culture of the restaurant. And that's what I love is when you find the restaurant and that family that has that culture that flows from the top where everybody can look at it and kind of grab on and say, I can vibe with this culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can dig in. I can find my home here. And that's when you find those restaurants where the same guy has been washing dishes for 16 years.
Yeah.
The same
And
guy
loving
has
it.
been and loving it.
Yeah.
Because it's genuinely his family or her family
Sure.
when they come in.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you get to see a lot of restaurants in your work. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I make a lot of the video reels for the Eat Local Ohio page.
Nice.
And we started with Instagram and built an incredible following on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last year, I have been building the TikTok following. And it's just a cool thing. The algorithm's constantly changing. It's fun to kind of try to predict it and stay on top of it and what works and what doesn't work. And you're constantly kind of changing your process to get better results. But at the end of the day, the power of social media and what you can do essentially for free. I mean, you've got the effort of putting the time into creating the content.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's free to post it. And my biggest job with Eat Local Ohio is to help the local independents get better at social media. And the ones that are doing it and doing it well, they're not doing promotion anywhere else.
You just remind me,
Got it
Cool J
dialed
right there.
in. What's that?
You just remind me, Cool J. You remember that song? It's like,
Can't even
doing
see
it,
my
doing
pant
it, and
leg.
doing it well. No, what's funny about this, man, is you talked about your passion for restaurants, right? And your eyes lit up a certain way. And then you talked about figuring out the Rubik's Cube that is social media, and your eyes lit up the exact same way. I can't help but think that those two operations are congruent in your brain, right?
100%.
It's like every day you wake up and there's a new puzzle. You got to figure it out.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you're just serving people. But it's that puzzle behind it is incredibly gratifying for you, I take it. So let's zoom out just a little bit and let's talk a little bit about what Eat Local Ohio does. Let's pretend that they don't know. What is Eat Local Ohio?
Eat Local Ohio is a platform that we just go around to local independent restaurants and we try to just focus on the stars. Who is doing something fresh? Who's doing something new? Who's got a restaurant that's been around for 80 years and been passed on from generation to generation? Just trying to find that local love and help tell their story to the platform that we've grown.
So here's the thing. Let's go back to that word love, right? What do you get out of this as an organization? What's the payment like? What's your bills look like? What's your invoices look like?
Oh, I don't know. I don't handle any of that stuff.
Because you don't have any.
Right.
That's the thing. You don't have any. This is all free, right? For
oh yeah, this is a free thing. I'm sorry.
Drink more coffee. He's throwing up softballs and just laying on the ground. I don't know the financials.
Well, I know that it costs money for us to do what we do.
It does. But I think that's my favorite part, though, is there is no charge. This is truly like, this is a cause that we can really get behind, right? It's not tainted with a sales mechanism or anything. It's really you guys are just out there showcasing independent restaurants. And I think what's even more inspiring is that we both have the same parent company, whether Restaurantopia or eLocayo, Hillcrest Food Service. Their idea is if we make the independents better, we win, right?
100%.
The community wins. And eventually to come back, because we're in business, let's face it, we got to get ROI somehow, right? We're not naive and no one should be. But the fact is, this really customer forward notion in all of its authenticity is not something you see very often.
My favorite part of when I'm on the phone talking to somebody and I'm telling them what we do and they're listening and that's great. And then they finally get to, well, what does it cost? And I love going, oh, this is free. And there's always like that second of like hesitation where I can tell their wheels are spinning and they're going, okay, well, if it's free, what's the catch? What am I on the line? No, it's genuinely, this is a give back. We started this 4 or 5 years ago just to promote local. And all of a sudden it's just like, whoa,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's profound.
Yeah.
It was easy for me to get on board with when I first heard about it and everything else. Like, my God, that's amazing, and it's different. It's revolutionary to a certain degree, right? Mm-hmm. But again, it's predicated on the notion that if the independents don't succeed, we don't succeed.
Right.
It comes down to, because Hillcrest only serves independent restaurants.
Right.
And we only work with independent restaurants. If there's none left, we don't have jobs.
Right.
So what you do saves our jobs. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's very nice. We have a lot of
fun.
fun.
And they get it. It's not, it takes a second for them to wrap their heads around it, but as soon as like they hear it and they, it's not hard to be genuine. You know what I mean? It's not hard to relay like, no, this is genuinely just something that we do. And all of a sudden they're like, wow. But you can tell that it makes a profound impression. Like, there's still good companies out there. There's still good people out there that do things, just for the good of the cause, or just for like the general, health of our local, our local businesses.
It's wild, isn't it?
It's good.
It's actually wild that's wild, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
We should do more of it, quite frankly.
Right.
So when you guys go out and collect all these digital assets, you guys are doing photo shoots, you're doing reels, you're doing interviews with owners, so you're really putting these people on a pedestal. What do you do with the content after that?
I have like 2 days in the week that are pretty much just chopping things up and editing things up between all the photographs and all the videos that we get. But I've been focusing on reels really for the last probably year solid, because that is what's getting that's what's getting the engagement on the platforms.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah. So my job, and that's what a lot of people ask me is how do you make a good reel, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. Is there's a handful of things that can really elevate the reels that you make, but a lot of it is when I'm out at a restaurant, I'm looking around with a creative eye, just trying to get anything that's visually attractive, and that's what I've noticed with my own eye. It's like the reels that I'm drawn to are stuff that, there's a burger there, but there's also something like cool in the background, or there's like a cool like bar light, or the way that the lights are fading into the background. It's not just about the component you're looking at, the whole thing. So trying to get as much visually attractive content as I can. And then in the editing process, I'm just looking at videos and going, okay, what are my best 20 or 30 videos, and compiling those, and then just trying to arrange them to tell a story.
Yeah, that's rad. So obviously the artistic element is very, very important to you, which I think comes hand in hand with what you do.
And I'm a creative,
I was going to say, you're an artist, man. So what do you do?
I play a lot of music.
You do play a lot of music, and it's really good, brother. So does that help you think, when you were talking about that creative eye, and more, it's probably a creative ear where you come from, but you have a certain penchant for that, and it's a little bit different the way you do things. You think because of your artistic background,
I think it helps. I think what helps more is my ability to tell a story. I'm a songwriter.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking at, okay, where are we going? Where am I starting, and where am I going, and what does the path look like to get there?
That sounds like a pro tip buried in there. Right. So now, not only do you do the photo shoots, you do the promotion, but now you guys are branching out into consultation as well.
Absolutely.
So you guys become marketing consultants, right? And so going back to that storytelling, where's that rank on your list of things to do for social media posts and posturing?
I think it's one of the most important points.
Yeah. And we're seeing that more and more is why I asked.
Well, and it's funny because you try to pinpoint, okay, why did this video do so well? You try to look at the attributes of that video, but I think the storytelling element is one of the most important parts, because if you don't tell the story accurately and you jump ahead too quickly, you lose your audience. They got lost along the way and they're sliding to the next video.
That's fair.
And with all the algorithms, one of the biggest components of what they look at, of how much are they sharing it, how much are they pushing it, is did the user finish the video? So I think the storytelling element of being that A, B, C, D, and not losing someone along the way is super important to how many plays that video is going to get.
Yeah, sure. And with the plays, obviously garners more attention. More attention
more
means more revenue. Yep.
More put. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how that all ties around. It's not enough to be top of mind these days, right? You got to really hook them in and create raving fans. There's a lot of competition out there. So I understand you want to talk about a few things today. So
yeah.
What did you bring? Because obviously you got to put the pause button on me, or I'm going to keep talking to you because I get real excited.
Storytelling is a big element of it. Tell a good story. Some of the other things that I think are really important to making a successful reel is choosing the video editor that you're working in. And there's a lot of them out there. There's tons of great free video editors. I know Andrea uses Vixer. And actually, she's going to be showing me some little tips and tricks with Vixer after the session here, because I love her transitions.
Yeah.
She's got really cool transitions where it pops in or pulls out or slides around. And it's like, to me, that stuff's cool. It keeps my focus. It keeps me wanting to see what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
But every single video editor they basically have the same components that you use, but they'll have their own little unique kind of I guess frills that you can build in. So I think a lot of it is finding your style, find a good video editor.
Yep. Let's talk about that real quick, because I can tell you one of the aversions of the customers I consult with on a regular basis is the difficulty of social media, or at least the perceived difficulty of social media, right? A lot of people don't get involved. And I know we had your colleague Dustin on talking about how maybe it's one of those priorities that falls off because there's so much for the operator to do.
Yeah.
But now you have an operator who's a little bit scared to do this, who doesn't have enough time to do it.
Well, you're always going to put the thing that you're scared of at the bottom of the list.
No question. And we have. And that's why Eat Local Ohio exists, right? Is to help nudge these people and bring them up and say, hey, look, this is a really important tool that you have to use. Let's make it easy.
Right.
So this video editing software you're talking about, scale of 1 to 10, how easy is it?
They're so powerful. They're so they're built so intuitively.
Right.
Like genuinely. And I sit down and I'll sit down. Whenever I'm out at a photo shoot, I kind of tell them what my scope is. And anyone that looks at me and actually catches that I'm here to help you get better, I'll always say before I leave, would you ever like to just sit down for an hour and I'll just show you the apps that I already have downloaded on my phone,
Fair.
Show you how I use them. And the ones that say, yeah, I come back. And, after looking at it for 5 minutes, you can tell that all this, it's demystified.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a great way of putting it, because there's this mystery behind it that we find overwhelming. And I've seen you guys in action. I've seen you guys do cooking reels with me, and 10 minutes later have a fully edited video ready to post.
Yeah.
Like just like that. I wasn't even done cooking. I wasn't even done with the plating yet. And Rama was on, and she's like, look, it's done. And I'm like, that's not how Rama talks, but that's all I can do. So she shows it to me like, my God, like I wasn't even done cooking the product and you have the video ready to post, staggering. So the stuff's easy, because I don't want to, it's already a mystified process, as you put it. I don't want to deepen that per se. So I really wanted to unpack the ease of these, Vixer or whatever it is.
And, and you can get as elaborate or simple as you want.
Right.
When you scroll through Instagram and TikTok, sometimes the simplest little videos that were 6 seconds long are the one that have 50 million views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be, when I go into a restaurant, I want to tell their story, and
Sure.
I want to tell it to the best of my ability. So my videos, if you looked at how it's edited up, a lot of them are 30 and 40 little clips that are segmented down to the best second and a half of content, and then it moves to the next one, then it moves to the next one, and it's timed up with the beat of the music. So I get a little bit more elaborate because I nerd out on it, and that's my thing.
And you have the time.
And I have the time to do it.
Right.
But just because you don't have the time to do it doesn't mean you can't splice 5 or 6 clips together that accurately tell a simple story of maybe a dish being created, or something to that effect that's still very powerful with regards to marketing what you have and telling your own story.
True. And one of the most convenient trends we have out there is that consumers and end users of social media aren't necessarily looking for a high level like Michael Bay production.
No.
It's really the content first and the production like fourth or fifth, 100%. Right? You got consistency in there, you got speed in there, reliability, right? As a fan, I want raw, authentic you. Yeah, highly produced you is okay too. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. And there's some effects and things, but I don't know that consumers need that. So for the operators out there, like raw and authentic is absolutely fine. Even if you mess up a couple times or the camera goes weird or it's a little shaky, no one cares.
Kind of like, it creates it creates an honesty about who you are and what you are. I always use the analogy of like, okay, you could spend 3 hours and make this beautiful video that is in your mind 100%. It's 100%. Mm-hmm. Or you could take that 3 hours and make 5 videos that are all 80%. And in our day and age, with as quick as things expire and as quick as things get played out, you have about 24-hour window where your video could have 250,000 views in that 24 hours. But after that 24 hours, it's kind of dead.
Yeah.
It's not like it keeps a slow trickle or anything like that. It pretty much, you have that window and it's done. So in those 3 hours, can you create 5 or 10 pieces of content or one piece of content? The quality isn't what people are paying attention to.
Right.
You need that consistency, staying top of mind, staying present.
Well, we heard a new definition. So we had a guy on not too long ago, Sean Walchef. He's out of San Diego. And he started with a breakfast bar and grill, oddly enough, weird concept, transitioned into barbecue. And now he's transitioned into freight, right? He claimed that he wanted to be the next Amazon of barbecue in San Diego. So but he's an amazing, it's Cali Barbecue and Media Company. That's his restaurant, right? So that's music to your ears. Because the restaurants realized, well, hey, I might as well get in the media too because I got to use so much of it.
Right.
But his definition of quality was consistency plus quantity equals quality. So be damn production value. Let's not worry about that. Let's worry about putting out great content all the time, as fast as you can, right? And that consistency is really what your fans are coming back for because they want more and more and more of you, right? Do you agree with that or no?
Absolutely.
So with Sean, and we love that definition of quality, obviously, because I think it shirks a lot of the anxiety that operators have, like, oh my God, this video is not going to be good enough. So let's go back to the video production apps or the editing apps. What are you using? What are the best?
I found one called UCut Video Editor, and I believe that's available for Androids. Every time I try to have an iPhone user download it, they either can't find it or it's glitchy. For Android, they've been trying to get me to switch to iPhones forever. I like the Android. It's my interface, it's my jam. But Andrea uses Vixer. There's one called CapCut that is really powerful. Every now and then I'll edit in CapCut. And like I said, each one of these has little. This one's a little bit stronger here. This one's a little bit stronger there. You're gonna find what works best for you. But UCut, CapCut, Vixer. And there's one other. Oh, InShot.
Those are good tips on the editors. We'll definitely put those in the show notes for the listeners out there. You'll have quick links to go to. We'll show you exactly what Abe and the Eat Local Ohio team and Eat Local Florida team's using.
This is a high quality pod. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Adios. Thank you for listening to Restaurantopia. The gratitude that we have for each and every one of you spending your precious time to listen to this podcast is immeasurable. Please make sure to tell a friend about this podcast. And also, if you have any feedback for us, visit us on restaurantopia.com and drop us a line. You can also subscribe on your favorite place to listen to podcasts. Thank you and have a great day.
We are excited to announce the Restaurantopia VIP Text Club. Join by texting the word podcast to 844-928-4257. You will get access to exclusive content, industry news, deals, announcements, pro tips, and more. The VIP Text Club is an exclusive community of independent restaurant owners and professionals. Join today. Message and data rates may apply. Please check our website for our terms of service and privacy policy.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Hillcrest Food Service. If you are a local independent restaurant and are looking for a distributor who has chef and operational consulting, provides marketing support, does menu reviews, And most importantly, wants you to be successful, reach out to Hillcrest Food Service at hillcrestfoods.com.